Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Salafi Radicalization of American Muslims Part 2, which is a continuation of the series from last month. What I'd like to do right to kick this off is to give you the context, the intention of the Muslim Brotherhood in America towards the United States. And the way I want to do that, as I've told you before, it doesn't matter what I say, it matters what they say, what they do. And wherever we can use evidence, their own documents directly against them, we are more than happy to do that. And in this case, we have a document that was actually used as evidence. You see at the bottom here the government stamp as an evidentiary item in this trial. It's in the Holy Land Foundation trial, ladies and gentlemen, which is the largest terrorism fundraising investigation and trial to date in the United States. In 2008, all the defendants in the Holy Land Foundation were found guilty. I think there were 108 counts. And they were found guilty of funneling more than $12 million to Hamas. And Hamas, as I'm sure you know, is a specially designated global terrorist organization by the United States. That designation was made in 2001. Now, to give you an idea of how the Muslim Brotherhood in America sees themselves within the Muslim milieu in America, this document is very explicit. You see, in the subject line, they're talking about the actual group in North America. So this isn't the Muslim Brotherhood around the world or in Egypt. We're talking about specifically here the Muslim Brotherhood in America. And we look at this first paragraph. What is it that they see themselves doing? Well, it says here, the general strategic goal of the group in America, which was approved by the Shura Council and the Organizational Conference way back in 1987. These guys have been here, as I've mentioned before, since 1963, organizing and creating the infrastructure within the United States. They say back in 1987, they agreed that enablement of Islam in North America, which means establishing an effective and a stable Islamic movement led by the Muslim Brotherhood, which adopts what, American causes? No, which adopts Muslim causes domestically and globally, and which works to expand the observant Muslim base. Observant Muslims, and we know they intend observant Muslims to be Salafi Muslims. The observant Muslim base aims at unifying and directing Muslims' efforts, presents Islam as a civilizational alternative, and supports the global Islamic State wherever it is. So there's nothing in here about supporting the United States and having, a dovetailing Islamic movement in the United States which respects U.S. law and so forth and so on. This is all about supporting Muslim causes domestically and globally and supporting the global Islamic State, not the United States of America. And what really brings this home, ladies and gentlemen, is the next paragraph from this very same document, which is their own definition of what they intend to do to the United States. In paragraph 4 here, understanding the role of the Muslim brother in North America, it says very clearly, the process of settlement is a civilization jihadist process with all that word means. The Ikhwan, the Brotherhood, must understand their work in America is a kind of grand jihad in eliminating and destroying the Western civilization. Let me say that again. In eliminating and destroying the Western civilization from within and sabotaging its miserable house by their hands and the hands of the believers, so that it is eliminated and God's religion is made victorious over all other religions. Now, as you know, as we've gone through, as you've learned over these last few series, what they're talking about isn't just a religious thing. They're talking about the religion of Islam being, there's no separation of church and state. It's a political system as well as a religious system, and this is their Salafi view. And they're saying that their intention as the Muslim Brotherhood in the United States is to eliminate and destroy our Western civilization. And to do it how? To do it through overt jihad? No, by supporting the jihad and by subverting the government from within and sabotaging its miserable house. And then they say, by their hands and the hands of the believers, because they intend to use our own system against us and have us participate in our own destruction. So when they say destroying the Western civilization from within and sabotaging its miserable house by their hands and the hands of the believers, the Muslims, what they're talking about is they're going to get us to participate in our own destruction. And so that is what the intention of the Muslim Brotherhood in the United States is. Now I want to give you some more documentation supporting my statements regarding the partnership between ICNA and MAS, because some proof from their own documentation that what I'm saying is actually true. Here you have, if you notice, this is the American Muslim magazine. It's the official publication of the Muslim American Society. You can see this is from July 2000. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been monitoring these organizations for a long, long time. We have screen captures of almost every page of all of their websites, and so we actually have documentation to support everything that we're saying. And you see here, what is the title? ICNA and MAS pledge to work together in the path of Allah. Well, the way that actually comes out and what they actually describe in the magazine and in other documents is that ICNA and MAS got together and they decided to first cooperate on developing a joint tarbiyah, joint indoctrination program for their youth. And they actually did that, and they came out with this. Here's the ICNA and MAS joint tarbiyah program. So again, I just want to show you that we're using their documentation to prove that what we're telling you is true and accurate. And these guys actually have developed, in this joint tarbiyah program, they developed an actual schedule of classes and what materials should be used in those classes. And they came out with the schedule. Now, there are 4 of these screens, ladies and gentlemen. They're divided into 6 months. So there is the first year, is the first 6 months, and then there's another screen that has another one of these on it, second 6 months, and the same is true for the second year. And what I want to show you here is that in the first and second year, you have to be a Muslim by the man who, whose heart belongs to Osama bin Laden, Fatih Khan, who is a jihadi in his own right. And in 2006, if you'll remember, he unified Sunni jihadists within Lebanon to fight with Hezbollah against the Israelis after the Israelis incurred in Lebanon in 2006. So here we see, to be a Muslim, to be a Muslim, to be a Muslim. And here's the second part of the first year, and again, to be a Muslim, to be a Muslim. It just continues. Now, second year, they go through 9 months of study of milestones. And here you have milestones starting in the third month, milestones, 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 and it continues through the second year, as you can see here. So Stones is, by the man who ignited the spark of the Islamic Revolution and who actually gave Ayman al-Zawahiri his inspiration to create his very first jihad cell. Now, their website format has changed over the years, ladies and gentlemen, and what was once easy to find on their sites is now getting harder and harder. Well, let's take a look at the changes that the Muslim American Society has made, and we'll see maybe why they made some of these changes. Now, this is the Muslim American Society site the way it looks today. It's very glossy, very nice, very well done. And here they're talking about their Islamic American University. Well, if you look at this, the text under the green blackboard, you see a description of the content of the Islamic American University, but you don't see any mention of any officers. Now, that wasn't always true. Up until just about a year ago, this was what that section looked like. It wasn't nearly as glossy and as cool. This is a screen capture from the Muslim American Society, and this is the section of their website which deals with the Islamic American University. Now, you can see by the text here that they say that the Islamic American University is one of MAS's main projects. And what they aim to do is groom distinguished scholars, activists, leaders, and teachers who are well-rounded in Islam as well as in the different facets of American life. And they mention that Sheikh Yusuf al-Qaradawi serves as the chairman of the Islamic American University, and Dr. Jamal Badawi serves as the vice chairman. Now, why do you think they didn't mention that in the newer versions that we just looked at? This particular version right here. There's nothing about the officers. There's nothing about Qaradawi. There's nothing about Badawi. I wonder why that is. Well, one of the reasons might be because both of those individuals are named as unindicted co-conspirators in the Holy Land Foundation trial. Now, again, wanting to show you actual documentation that this is not just opinion by myself or by Vaughn and the Intrepid group, that this is actual fact. Here is the actual list of unindicted co-conspirators in United States of America versus Holy Land Foundation for Relief and Development. And you'll see here, right at the top, list of unindicted co-conspirators and or joint venturers. And then we see number 20 is Jamal Badawi, and number 38 is Yusuf al-Qaradawi. So they're both. Now, Yusuf al-Qaradawi also happens to have been banned from entering the United States in 1999 because of his fatwas and support for suicide attacks against men, women, and children in Israel, and anywhere within the the Muslim world where he feels that people are being oppressed by the Americans and their allies. He's also written fatwas calling for attacks on American forces in the Middle East and so forth and so on. But the best way, ladies and gentlemen, for me to describe Mr. Qaradawi is not for me to describe him at all, but to have him describe himself. So let's look at a short video of Mr. Qaradawi where he praises Hitler and hopes that he will become a shahada, a martyr himself, shooting Jews. Let's just take a listen here for a second.
الله سلط عليهم طوال التاريخ من يؤدبهم نتيجة إفسادهم. آخر تأديب كان تأديب هتلر، ما فعل بهم، وإن كان مبالغوا في الأمر ما بلغوا، ولكن استطاع أن يوقفهم عند حدودهم، وكان هذا أدبا إلهيا، تأديبا إلهيا، عقابا قدريا لهؤلاء. والمرة القادمة إن شاء الله ستكون على أيدي المؤمنين. كل ما أتمناه في ختام كلمتي هذا أن يهيئ الله لي في ختام حياتي فرصة للذهاب إلى أرض الجهاد والمقاومة على كرسي متحرك، فأطلق رصاصة على أعداء الله اليهود، ويطلقون علي قنبلة أختم بها حياتي بالشهادة، وأقول الحمد لله رب العالمين، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
So you can see it's not what I say, it's what they say. And this is who these people are. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, that the soul of any organization is determined and revealed by how they educate their next generation and their next generation leaders. Now, Mr. Qaradawi is the chairman of the Islamic American University of the Muslim American Society. You see who he is, what he represents. That's what they're teaching their next generation. And if that wasn't good enough, here in just May of this year, during a trip to Mauritania, here is what Mr. Qaradawi says. We must revive what the founder of the Muslim Brotherhood, Hassan al-Banna, called the death industry in his article from the 1940s. The Ummah, the world Islamic community, today is in need of self-sacrifice for the sake of achieving rights, and thus victory will be attained. The inertia that has harmed everyone can change if the Ummah finds the men who excel at dying for the sake of Allah. So, ladies and gentlemen, you get a very clear understanding of, what the Muslim American society is all about.